Okay, so I'm doing something right now. So everybody, I want you to stay with me. I'm trying to stream this to TikTok. So okay, everybody. You know what? I'm gonna kill it on TikTok because I'm echoing. But we tried. If you're on TikTok and you hear me, come to 49ers First Takes YouTube channel and we're gonna kill it. All right, that didn't work. I tried it. All right, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Sorry, I was trying to do something. I was trying to see if I could multi-stream. Didn't work. So let's hit it up. Welcome, Raj. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I wish we could have got that multi-stream. We'll figure it out. Technology sucks, so we'll try it again next time. But I'm hyped up. Niners, Cowboys. You might have heard tomorrow, primetime, Sunday Night Football. I'm ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm closing out this window. Does that help? Am I still echoing? No, I'm not echoing. Yeah, man, it's a deja vu matchup. It's a matchup that goes back many, many years to the 70s, and it's like, man, I wasn't alive back then, but from the early 80s up until now, there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of history. I mean, I'm a little older than Raj, so I go back to like the early 90s with the NFC Championship games, and all those were tough because out of nowhere, everybody started being a Cowboys fan when they started being good again. So I had to put up with a lot of it. You know, the Niners dynasty at that point had kind of taken a dip after Montana left. So Dallas kind of like, rose to the occasion. They were the big bullies with the huge line, and they took Charles Haley from us. So that was an interesting time to be in high school and middle school. I don't know if you experienced the same thing, but it was a pissing contest, man, depending on who you rooted for.
Oh, absolutely. I grew up, as a Niner fan, but in my neighborhood, it was either Niner or Cowboy. Those are the two popular teams. That's who everybody rooted for in school. That's like you'd see half of the school were Dallas Cowboy colors, the other half were Niner colors. When it was Sunday, bragging rights were on the line, and after the game, you'd be talking trash if your team won. Cowboys were tough. They had Emmett Smith and all them boys in the 90s, Steve Young, and everybody on the 49ers, Jerry Rice. It was always back and forth. We got Dion. They had Dion. Like it was crazy, man, and it was always just a battle between them. And I remember those days vividly. Just hating the Cowboys, growing up to hate them. Even my cousin, I remember my cousin. We used to go. My dad and I used to go to his house all the time. Him and his dad were Cowboys fans. Me and my dad were Niner fans. So we'd always be talking trash. Super Bowl would come, and for a while in the '90s, it was always the damn Cowboys. So we'd always bet against them. We'd always bet against the Cowboys because we hated them. And I remember sitting there every damn year. The Cowboys would beat the Bills or whoever the case was, and we'd be sick. We'd leave the game, like we'd leave their house just pissed, and we hated them. We ain't never going back to their house. We hated them, hated my cousin. And then finally, when the 49ers beat the Cowboys, and then they won the Super Bowl, oh my God, I just talked so much trash to my cousin that day. I think they kicked us out of their house in that Super Bowl. They're, get out of here, guys. We were dancing in their house. We were causing a ruckus. We couldn't believe it. It was happy time. So, yeah, I love the rivalry. It's been instilled in me since I was a kid.
I did not see this. This Susan D says 40% chance of Dallas, or 40% chance. Yeah, they're going to rain. 40% Dallas fans expected at Levi's. That's not good, faithful. What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
You know what they were doing? They were selling the tickets. They got to. It's expensive at the Bay. They probably.
I know, but we're what are we, the Rams? Like, what's up, people? I thought we were better than the Rams. Well, that's garbage. Thanks, hey, Christine. Thanks for who said it? Was it Susan?
Susan.
Thanks for ruining my evening. No, I'm just playing. That makes me mad. Like, what's up, faithful? Let's say hi to the chat real quick. We got Laura Cat in the building. She says hi, Aaron and Raj. Have a fantastic show. Anthony Petrokovitz. He says W. I guess he's referring to the game. I hope so. Stephen Reynolds, he says, what's good, faithful? We have Rashad Akil in here. He said WWE talk with ERs. Not sure what that means. Let's see here. We got Terrence in here. He says, what's up, Raj?
What's up?
Christine Workman, she says, hello, Aaron. Hello. Thank you. Peter, hey, Peter Parker's in here. He says Dallas thumbs up. Boo.
No, he says
No. Oh, that's a middle finger. My
middle
bad, dog. My bad. Let's see here. We got who else we got in here? We got 187. He says, "Bang bang Niner gang." Yeah, the Niners better bang bang on the Cowboys on Sunday. Especially after what Raj told me off screen. I don't know if we should share it.
Should I tell him what I think? I know some inside information on this game. I don't want to say it. Let's just say there's going to be some high quality trolling from the 49ers players. And I hope they only do it if they win. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it because if they don't win and they do this thing that Raj told me off camera, that'll be really, really, really lame. So, yeah, just if you remember, there was a shirt lifting in the NFC Championship game about 30 some odd years ago by a certain linebacker. Just keep that in mind if you're old enough to remember what we and Raj are trying to like get at. Hopefully you understand. But sorry for the weird beginning of the stream. I was trying to do something and it's pissing me off now. I wish I wouldn't have done it. I was trying to stream to TikTok by screen capturing my stream and it just sent echoes through everywhere. So I was hearing Raj and myself talk like 10, 11 times in a row. So I apologize for that. Let's talk about the move that happened over the weekend. He's a former Cowboy, Randy Gregory. I know me and you have talked before about in the offseason how the Niners man, I really wish they would have gone after another edge guy. And the rush, I mean, so far, let's be honest, the rush has been a little bit it's left a lot to be desired. Not too many sacks after week one. So what's your thought on the Randy Gregory trade from Denver? It's kind of a low risk, high reward type of trade, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, very low risk, high reward. I honestly, and I said this a week ago, I think John Lynch is listening to these content. I think he's listening to me. I think he's dialed into me because me and you sat here all off season, Aaron, and we said, listen, go get another veteran edge rusher. I said, I don't care who it is. And they did it. And Denver was going to get rid of this guy. They were going to cut him. And I think John Lynch, he picked up the phone, due diligence. You guys are going to get rid of him? Instead of getting rid of him, because we don't have the waiver priority, let's just do a pick swap. Oh yeah, okay. You gave him a better pick. They get a 6th round pick. We get a 7th out of it. We still have 12 draft picks next season. And we get an edge rusher who probably is going to be better than he ever has in this league because we have Chris Kasurik. It's a win-win for the 49ers. Good rotation. It's going to help us. I mean, I feel like this team they're all in. They're like, look, we're going to go get talent no matter what. We're going to keep on stacking this roster and keep adding great players. And again, he may not be an elite line, a defensive edge rusher, but he's still good. He's going to add that element of depth because now you can rotate guys a little bit more. We lost Charles Omenihu. I think this guy can kind of replace Charles Omenihu and replace his role. And the other thing is, it just gives you an extra pass rusher, which we've been needing. And we have been, like you said, we've been getting close, but no cigar. Like they just haven't been able to finish the job in terms of getting sacks. They got a lot of pressures, but now you got more fresh legs. You're going to be able to get maybe more pressures. You're going to help Drake Jackson out there. So I thought this was a great move. And the best part of this, Aaron, they're not even paying him $1 million. He's getting the league minimum, the veteran minimum. And the Denver Broncos are footing the bill. They're paying him because they were going to, get rid of him and do maybe an injury settlement. They were going to pay him anyways. So the 49ers said, hey, pay him, give him to us. We'll give you a 6th round pick. What a masterclass by John Lynch. John Lynch, he was in his bag on this move. So absolutely great move. I loved it. I think it was a very solid trade. And the 49ers over these last couple of years, they are very aggressive. They've gotten Jordan Willis, Emmanuel Sanders, Christian McCaffrey, Charles Omenihu, and now Randy Gregory. Every year they've been making trades. I love it.
Some people put this Randy Gregory trade and they're like really excited about it. And then some people are kind of more saying it's more or less just like a depth signing, depending on who you talk to. Some people are like, I can't believe we got it. It's a steal. And then like everyone, it really depends. He's not a big sack number guy over the course of his short career. So actually not a short career. He's been in the league. He's like 30 years old. So he hasn't gotten a ton of sacks. They said he's a high pressure rate guy, which is, kind of sounds like pretty much everybody else on the Niners who hasn't gotten home. But it'll be nice to see. He played well for Dallas. He was a highly sought after free agent. I mean, they paid a good amount of money for him, the Denver Broncos. So, you know, like you said, it's a fresh body. It's a fresh guy coming at the quarterback. The Niners need a ton of those. They brought up Austin Bryant from the practice squad. He's another fresh body that we originally cut and then brought back after the cut down date before the beginning of the year. And so it'll be interesting to see how the Niners, if he's going to he's not going to get any reps this Sunday, looks like, because he's not going to be in Santa Clara. He won't arrive till Monday. So that sucks. Kyle said he was trying to keep his secrets close to his vest, but I don't think anything's coming of that. But it would have been cool to see him. Yeah, I'm just thinking like, the more the merrier. It gives me kind of a thought though that Kyle and John might not be done by making moves. I know you know a little bit more, but like I said, you're not going to spoil stuff. Like I just get a vibe that like if the Niners are really killing it and they think like a move can put them over the top, so to speak, like in wrestling when they say you got to put yourself over.
Yeah.
I think they might make another move. Don't necessarily know if it's a pass rush move, but a pass rush move. I'm thinking more along the lines of maybe a defensive back. I know a lot of people thinking that the Niners are just going to blow their wad and give all their draft picks away to go get Surtain. I don't see that happening. Be awesome if they did, but that would be like he seems like a cornerstone piece for the Broncos, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a great player. He's one of those like special type, build your defense around type cornerbacks. He's good. You would need to give up a lot again, even if the Broncos are having a fire sale. Then maybe the Niners call and say they circle back. Like I'm sure John Lynch on the phone call with Randy Gregory was like, "What about Patrick Surtain?" And they probably fished around for the price. I feel like in a couple of weeks, if that price changes and it's something the 49ers could do, maybe they will do it. But I definitely think the 49ers aren't done yet. They're proven to us right now that they are absolutely all in. If they need a move, they're going to go do it. They have $42 million in cap space before they signed Randy Gregory, not even $1 million. So they still have around 41 mil. They still have the most cap space in the NFL. I know they want to save money for Brandon Ayuk next year, as they should, but they can still get somebody. If they need a cornerback, they can still do it. So it really depends on these next couple of weeks. This is a critical junction. Dallas is the biggest test that they've had all season. We'll see, how they fare against them. We'll really see. The secondary is going to be tested. They have good receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Gallup. They got good players. We'll see how we were tested against Dallas. And then after that, you got Cleveland. So that's not a game to, laugh about. You got some good teams coming up. So we'll really see what the 49ers secondary is made up before the trade deadline. And we'll see if they want to go after someone. So if they absolutely need to, Aaron, I think that they're okay with doing it. Because, again, they've shown, especially this year, this offseason, dating back to last year, they went and got Christian McCaffrey. It was a blast of a move. That was a block, but, it was crazy. And then this offseason, I honestly was like, oh, maybe they'll get some small moves here and there. They went and got Javon Hargrave, literally an hour into, the free agency. That was one of the first big moves of the entire day. I remember I was like, whoa, Niners made a block. That was a huge move. And then this move, it may not be as big as a move as Hargrave or Christian McCaffrey, but they're showing us, they're telling us, hey, we're committed to keep on building this roster. So yeah, absolutely. And I know the secondary right now, people are down on them. But getting a guy like Gregory is only going to help because more pressure up front, take pressure off the back. Now, I think the biggest issue with the secondary is we don't have a lot of depth. So if anybody gets hurt, then you're worried because you got Ambry Thomas having to start, and Ambry Thomas is a liability in there. So yeah, they need better cornerbacks in terms of depth. I mean, I like the starters, Diamond Lenore, Mooney Ward, and Isaiah Oliver, but who knows if they're all three going to make it through the season. So they need to continue to add depth in that department. Womack's been dealing with injury, and Darrell Luther, he hasn't even stepped on the field yet. So they definitely, in my opinion, need depth because if you have to rely on Ambry Thomas down the stretch, we're getting cooked up, baby boy.
Yeah, the Niners secondary to me, they're missing a couple guys. They're missing Womack. They're missing Luter. That's why it's like if they could get both of those guys back, do they even make a DB move? Because if they have two guys waiting in the wings who they think are better than what they can get on the free agent market, then why make a move and waste valuable draft assets?
Yeah.
Real quick, Frank Tom Ocean says he liked and smacked both channels. Can you guys do a favor if you're on a computer whatever, a tablet, a phone. If you want to open up 2 tabs, support both channels, help us get the likes and the likes and the algorithms and stuff. Because Raj has recently started a new version of his channel called RSF 49ers Live, and of course me with 49ers First Takes podcast. So if you can do that, that would be freaking swell. The likes help. You know how you guys know the drill. People like your channel, they find it. So that would be really great if you could do that. Um, this is definitely, from what a lot of people are saying, if you look at the media and what they've been talking about, this is definitely a Brock Purdy prove it game. Some people are talking already as if it's happened. I was listening to this one guy, don't know who he is. But he's essentially saying if Brock Purdy has another slow game against Cowboys, maybe he's not as what we think he is, which I think is kind of dumb. I just think that sometimes some teams play you better than others. Uh, uh, I think Brock Purdy's done very well and already kind of proved himself. I mean, he's not arrived. He's not like elite or anything like that yet. But do you believe it? I believe that this game is important because he didn't play the greatest last year, but they had to do a lot with their rush. I feel like the Niners game plan, Kyle will do the best to kind of put Brock in good positions. I think the Niners offensive line needs to step up. I mean, you're going against DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons. They're no schlubs. So do you kind of get the feeling, the sense that this is kind of maybe not, if the media is saying it, but do you think maybe within like just kind of the netherworld of the internet, like that it's a big game for Brock Purdy in a sense of like it'll be another kind of thing, notch in his belt to say, okay, maybe he is that guy.
Yeah, I mean, this is an important game for Brock Purdy in the sense of he's got to go out there and prove himself because the media is not buying into Brock. I mean, there's some people that are, really watching the film and understanding he's only played 15 games, Aaron, and people are acting like he's just this scrub. He's 23 years old. He's young. He's been tearing it up. A lot of people are jealous. I think a lot of people are just mad that the Niners got this guy in the 7th round, last pick of the draft, and he's having success. So they want to find any reason to tell you, oh, he's only good because of the teams around him, the team around him. He's only good because of Kyle Shanahan. He's only good because blah. They have every reason to tell you why he's only good, and he's not really good because he's a good player. So they're going to tell you every reason. They're not really watching the games. They see, again, it's the social media effect. It's people are going to say something that's against the grain because it's going to get views. It's going to get, it's going to get clicks. It's going to get, engagement. That's how social media works nowadays. You know how it goes. You put something spicy up there. Oh boy, it's going to really piss off the fan base. And what happens to us? We start talking about it. We start, throwing it out there. And that person that had that negative post, they did their job. And whether you believe it or not, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to circle their story around so people can get them talking. So even if you think they're a horrible, analyst, we're talking about what they're talking about because they're pissing us off. And now Brock is out there in the media, and he does have to prove himself to these people because they're stupid. But if Brock does have a bad game, now they can pump their chest. Oh, I told you, look, he struggled. Oh, I was right.
I broke the code. I was the first one to say something. Like, no, even, everybody's wrong eventually, or right eventually when they throw out a bunch of stuff that, they get to try to stick. It's really weird with me, Raj, with like the media, because you love hearing the good stuff from them, right?
Yeah.
And you'll, as a fan, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna save this clip or I'm gonna upload this clip.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the same breath, they put out something like that, and you're like, that's why you never listen to the media. That's why I'm not watching social media. We're so mentally irregular because we want the good without the bad, but unfortunately, with sports, you're gonna get depending on who's talking. Yeah.
And that's why when I deal with this, so on my Instagram, so I'll post like the cool, everybody wants the positive. We want to be happy about winning. But what I'll do with the negative, I'm like, oh, well, take a look at this guy, keep the receipt. So I can say, so you can kind of like, if you're trying to put a positive spin on anything, say, okay, here's the negative view from, Joe Schmo. We're going to keep the receipt on this guy. And then if he's wrong, then we can laugh about him. Like, oh, look, he's an idiot. And then if he's right, then we'll brush it off. I'm like, oh, damn, he was right. Okay, I was wrong. But, that's just how social media works, and it's all about engaging the fans. And most fans, when you hear something negative about your team, you're going to react in an inflammatory way. And that's how it goes. But, man, Brock has just gotten so much negative press. Like, they don't believe in this guy. It's getting bad. Like, it was like every year, like, obviously quarterback's like the big point of every team. It's like the captain of the team. It's like the most important position. We went from like every year, like just please let this quarterback be able to score 20 points, and now we're dropping 30 points. It's fun. You have a breath of fresh air. You don't have any drama on who's going to be the starter. But now the drama is, what does he have to do to prove himself to the media? So it's like we're still in this quarterback talk. We can never escape it. Like, people can't just give Brock Purdy the credit of maybe he's actually damn good. But you know what? And I hate to throw this man's name out there because I'm not saying he is like this guy, but Tom Brady, when he first came into the league and he was doing really well, people were doing the same thing. Oh, he's just part of Belichick's system. He's just a system quarterback. He's terrible. He's not really that good. And then he became who he was, Tom Brady. So I'm not saying that Brock is Tom Brady, but if he continues to have his success and his trajectory goes the right, this way that he's doing, and he wins Super Bowls, then yeah, guess what? Brock Purdy is going to be a legendary quarterback. But it's still early, and people are going to doubt him because it's in his infancy of his career, and people are still going to not believe. Like, I don't know, is he really that good? Is it? People are going to raise these questions of, how is this last pick of the draft doing good? How did everybody miss? How did everybody miss on him? That's what everybody wants to find out. I mean, the quarterbacks that were ticking against him, they're all shitty. Every single one of the quarterbacks.
Yeah, that was a bad draft class.
It was so bad.
My God, it was a bad. I was looking at it the other day. I'm like, dude, he's the best quarterback in this class, and it's not even close.
Even close.
And he was the last. Think about this, people. The draft class that Brock came in, I think, wasn't Desmond Ridder in that class?
Yeah.
Okay, Desmond Ridder sucks really bad, okay?
Yeah.
And he was drafted way before Brock
Kenny
Purdy.
Pickett.
Kenny Pickett, to me, he's just kind of like a guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
He's just an average guy. Is Brock better than him? I think so.
Absolutely. We beat him
And
already.
a lot of people are going to say, well, it's because he has a lot of weapons. Yeah, but you could have a lot of weapons and still not be able to facilitate. Kyle Shanahan freaking, and I love my guy Ted. I know you guys give him a hard time because he's a hard guy to please when it comes to quarterback, and I don't blame him. It's been a long time since the 49ers have won. He has his own views. He's starting to change, though. The worm is starting to turn.
Yeah.
His issue is the hyperbole, where like people just go from like unknown quarterback to like he's the second coming of Joe Montana. It's like, let's just enjoy the ride, man. Let's chill out with all the comparisons. I will say this, though, about comparisons with Brock. The one thing, and I know you guys are going to kill me for this because it's a comparison. Joe Montana was the calmest guy I've ever seen play quarterback in my life. Nothing bothers him. Same personality, never looked flustered, never looked like anything bother him. When I watch Brock, I see a guy that has no pulse. He has no pulse. His face never changes. And when he does the ice in his vein, it's true, though. Like Steve Young, if you guys, I uploaded a clip. It's on my TikTok and I think on my Instagram. Steve Young's talking about how some people, when the pressure gets the most, they are at their calmest.
Yeah.
And they see everything really slow.
Yeah.
Whereas some people, when the pressure's at their highest, it's like they're about to pass out because everything is just, around them. It's like they're tripping on acid or something.
Well,
And
no, that's so true, Aaron. I love that. Sorry to butt in, but like that point is so good, and not just in sports in general, but I work in rehab and stuff, and I have take it from the patient point of view. Like when they first get up and they're struggling and they're trying to get up, I've had so many patients. The first time they get up, they get up, they're dizzy, their blood pressure, they're like the roof is spinning, and they're like, am I ever gonna walk again? And I'm like, look, this is just part of it. You got to get used to being up again. And there's some people that they get up and they know they just got to focus in, take deep breaths, and they're like, boom, and it doesn't phase them. And in terms of being a therapist, like sometimes I have like these hard situations with patients. It's like, holy crap, this guy had a stroke. He has this, he has that, he has, oh my God. Like, and you're like, holy crap, you're stressed. The family's there. It's like this, care training session, and you just got to lock in and you're calm. And then what happens if the patient passes out, they code out? You have to be so calm in that situation where it's like, nothing phases you. You have to be able to keep calm. Otherwise, you're going to get frazzled, and then it frazzles the patient. Whereas when I have students and they're in those like pressure cooker situations, you can see who's going to be like great and someone that's maybe not going to be that great as a clinician because they just like lose. They're anxious. They're like, oh my God. And I remember when I was a student, I was like, okay, you got to really focus up and you can't let the pressure get to you. And that in any situation, quarterback, there's thousands of people looking at you, all this pressure. It comes down to these last 2 minutes. You have to be able to be calm and execute the plays. And that's how it's. Steve Young's absolutely right, man. And Brock Purdy is just so poised, man. He doesn't let. Maybe he is rattled, but he doesn't look like he's rattled. Like you said, ice in the veins. He is just so naturally poised. And I want to pull up these quarterbacks. I pulled up from last year. So these are the quarterbacks from last year's draft class. He's so much better than all of them. Malik Willis. Right now, he's a backup to Tannehill. Okay. Sam Howell. This man's O-line is terrible. He looks mid. Desmond Ritter. Obviously, he doesn't look too hot. Kenny Pickett, like you said, he's just a guy. Matt Corral. He's terrible. Carson Strong. Bailey Zappi out in New England. He's not great. And then you got Caleb Ellaby, and then Skylar Thompson. He's back up too. And then Brock Purdy. Those are your quarterbacks.
Might be the worst quarterback draft class I've ever heard of, other than
Brock Purdy.
BCP.
Yeah.
I want to answer Susan's question because it kind of goes along with what we're talking about. She said, would you guys change your opinion of Brock if our season, if they lose or get beat bad? Not saying that'll happen, just interested in your thoughts. I mean, it'll always affect us as fans if we get our asses totally whipped by somebody. But it's how things happen in the game. If it's just a game where like you have a couple early turnovers on like special teams or something, and they get a couple scores and the Niners are never really able to kind of climb back into it. Sometimes games like that happen. They get away from you, and then you just, I mean, the Kansas City game last year, we got boat raced, right?
Yeah.
But we were still in the NFC Championship game last year, and we were a quarterback injury away from competing. Not saying we would have won, but we were a quarterback injury away from competing and giving us a chance. And you never know in the fourth quarter if it's close. I might just go with Brock and his calmness. But it would suck, but I don't think it would change too much because I think this team is just too good. They're too well coached. They've been through way too much to let one butt kick and just completely throw their season off. As a fan, we're gonna panic. We're gonna overdo it. I'll probably be like, I don't know, and in my thoughts, but then I'll go out with someone like Raj, and Raj will be like, it's no problem. Don't worry about it. So I'll have to change my thoughts. Him or someone like Rob Shue. Rob's always got the positive outlook on the 49ers. It's starting to rub off on me, the positive mindset of some of you guys, because I'm usually super negative. We'll see.
You got to be positive. But in that, to answer that question, which is a good question, like if Brock, in particular, if he has a bad game, is it going to change my opinion on Brock? And then, no. Again, what I say earlier is he's played 15 games. I expect him at some point to have a bad game. Like,
right.
He made a mistake. Like, I'm expecting it. Like, at some point, I'm like, dude, this guy's not human. He hasn't thrown a pick. Like, at some point, I know he's going to make a mistake. I'm not dumb. I know he's going to throw some picks. He's going to have some fumble. He's going to have a bad game eventually. That's to be expected. It's the law of averages.
His first game, he wasn't. I mean, he had a couple of fumbles.
Yeah, but I mean,
he just, like he's almost thrown a couple, pretty bad interceptions. It just hasn't happened. And the dude's not inhuman.
There hasn't been one game where he's just like one touchdown, 3 interceptions, and he just looked like absolute dog trash. Like he hasn't had a game like that. Like there's been some mistakes here. Like obviously he hasn't been perfect, but he's coming off a game where he's 20 for 21. Aaron, that's pretty good. Crazy. That's pretty good. Like I'm just saying, like, I got a lot of confidence in Brock. And maybe it's because we watched Jimmy for so long and he just shit the bed so many times. But God, Brock Purdy, man, maybe our expectations are not as what they should be because we watched Jimmy Garoppolo for several years. And maybe we're like, we see someone throw for 300 yards. We're like, oh, he's the GOAT. He's 20 for 20. He's the GOAT. Like, oh, my God, he got 30-yard pass. He's the GOAT. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we're like, maybe he isn't a good quarterback. Maybe these people are right. But for now, right now, he's been looking locked and loaded. He keeps the ball moving. They've scored 30 points a game. The team loves him. To me, he can't do any wrong. But until he has a shitty game, let's see how he responds to it. If he continues to have shitty games, yeah, he's not it. But right now, this guy is the hottest thing out there in the quarterback world. He is.
People are even saying MVP.
He might be. He's a legit.
Come on, people. I don't think that's the case. I think
Aaron, he's a QB. MVP candidate. I'm telling you, the man leads the NFL in QBR. Like,
okay, but I get that. I just want everybody to slow down. Okay, slow down. It's 4 games in. I'm not saying it isn't possible, but the league's going to look at him. They're going to look at him, and they're going to.
Aaron, are we 4-0 if Sam Darnold's the quarterback?
No.
There you go.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, I know, just like the people that do the drafting look at quarterbacks and they say size matters, arm strength matters. No one wins MVPs on intangibles. He would be the first guy to do it. Okay. Like, and I'm not saying he can. I'm just saying, I know just based on like the viewing public, how people perceive MVP quarterbacks and what they have to look like and what they have to play like. No one's ever saying, you know what? He was a really good cerebral quarterback who never got flustered. He was really short and he had a really mid arm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how the people that view it from the public would say it. Just like with the draft, the draft is pretty much like the biggest, strongest. It's like a horses, like which one is the biggest and runs the fastest. They don't care. Like, intangibles don't work. Like, they don't measure until you're put in a situation. I mean, look, I hate to say this, and I'll go based off on one of the comments where it says that people are still mad about Trey Lance not working out. I 100% agree that that's where a lot of the hate's coming from. Listen, Trey Lance had it all physically, just like Justin Fields, but neither of those guys upstairs, it's like the game. They just don't see the game. I don't understand why that is. But it's weird. It's always those guys that you forget about, like Brady, Montana. It's like they look at them and you're like, he's okay looking. He's average looking. He looks like a kicker. He looks like a guy that's still in high school in Purdy's case. And yet in the most pressure packed situation, they are the calmest. So, it's football is a visual sport. People are impressed by big, strong, fast athletes. They're not impressed by guys who have cerebral control over the game. So it's just what it is. So
yeah, that's true. The debate goes on. Yep.
I want to know the CMC. He's gotten a lot of carries, and it looks like he's going to have a lot more because once again, our friend Elijah Mitchell, he's got a knee injury. He's hurt again. First, before we talk about CMC, is it time to give up on the Elijah Mitchell train?
I mean, I said it off season, trade him, get rid of him, something, and it's not because I don't think he's good. It's just he can't stay healthy, man. And at some point, you just got to cut ties and get something. That's why they've been drafting running backs, right? Every year, Jordan Mason, they got TDP, they have these guys just in case. And that was the reason they went and got Christian McCaffrey, because Elijah Mitchell, your number one running back last year, couldn't stay healthy. So they were like, shit, we need a elite running back. We need someone to run this offense the way we need to run it. And CMC was the guy. CMC is the best running back Kyle could have ever had for this offense. He was built for this. We've said it before. Like, he was the guy that this offense was built for. When his dad had Terrell Davis in Denver, we all know how that went. Like, he was a dog. And now he has, Kyle has CMC for himself. And he's a Hall of Fame level quarterback, running back. He is an elite running back. He's better than anybody Kyle's had on this team. And I like the guys that he's had over the years. Like, don't get me wrong. The Raheem Mosterts, Jeff Wilsons, Matt Breida, Elijah Mitchell, late round picks, and we're sitting there, oh, Kyle's a genius. He finds these late round running backs. You know what? I was tired of them because eventually they always wear down because they're not built like Chris McCaffrey. Chris McCaffrey has been a premium athlete his whole life. High school, he was probably the number one athlete in his school. He was probably the number one athlete in California around the time. He was in Stanford. He was a stud there, man. Like, he did nothing wrong. Carolina, he put that team on his back, and they were so bad. And now he's so happy. He loves being on the Niners. You can tell on the locker room speech, he was like, I love this team with all my heart. Like, he loves being here. They're winning games. I don't think he's fazed by how much carries he's getting. I know everybody's like, oh, you gotta stop rushing him. The difference now, it's mentally. And when he's mentally clear, he's going to be able to do whatever you need to do. And I don't think there's a worry. He said he's not worried about it. Kyle says he's trying to get other guys involved, but they can't stay healthy. And the thing is, in tough situations, it's hard not to give.
Right. You're going to go to your best players. You're not going to say, I got to sit this guy because he's worked too much.
But you have to, in the situational football, you got to play CMC, man. Like, I love Jordan Mason. You know me, I'm a big Jordan Mason guy. But guess what? If he's getting 2 or 3 yards of carry, that's not going to cut it when you need 5 yards, when you need 8 yards, when you can take a 2-yard play and get 20 yards. Like, it's just hard to stop giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey, man. He's too good. You know,
I think he's let's talk about, we can kind of transition too. So we are playing a team that last year played us really well in the NFC championship or in the divisional round. Or is it the wild card round? What game was Dallas? Wild card or was it divisional?
divisional. Wild card was not us. It was divisional.
Okay, so they
The
played us really
year
tough in that game.
Yeah.
First time, I don't think we scored like 20 points or I forgot. We got our offense got held really bad.
Yeah.
What does the Niners offense you think need to do in order to give a better performance against that pass rush? And I'm not just talking Brock Purdy. I'm talking Christian McCaffrey. Like, what do you see as an approach? Are you going heavy on the run, running at Parsons? Play physical ball, go
Yeah.
against Dallas's defense? Because I think that's the way to go. I
You
think
got
if you stand back there and throw the ball a ton, Brock Purdy's going to get knocked on his ass, right?
Yeah. To me, you have to come out as the aggressor. You got to hit them in the mouth. You got to run the ball down their throats. Last year, CMC kind of didn't have a big game. He had held under 100 yards, held under 50 yards. He had the calf injury coming in. He got the touchdown at the end, but he didn't really have a big game. And I think the key to beating Dallas is you have to bully them, hit them in the mouth. You have to make them hurt because they're going to try to make you hurt. They're a physical team. And to beat a physical person, you have to be more physical than them. You have to be the I think CMC, again, we just talked about how good it's going to be hard not to give him the ball. He needs to continue to pound the rock because Christian McCaffrey right now has been the MVP. And why not continue? If they can't stop Christian McCaffrey, then you need to keep giving him the ball. That's how he's so important. He is the MVP. Like we talked about Brock, MVP candidate. Christian McCaffrey right now is the real MVP. He's the guy. And I want to say that the 49ers have to run the ball down their throats because the Cardinals, the way they beat the Dallas Cowboys was they ran the ball 222 yards, rushing yards by the Arizona Cardinals. That's how they beat Dallas. They ran right down their throats because guess what? If you're running, Parsons ain't coming after your quarterback. He's going to that's it. Bottom line.
49ers throwback. I am done with Elijah Mitchell. Yeah, I've been done with him. I've been done with them, and I know we were talking about Cowboys and their defense, but it comes a time where it's time to just kind of cut somebody loose. This dude never plays. I hate when people come at me when I make comments like you're a jerk, you're a hater, you're making fun of somebody because they're injured. He's really good when he plays. That's the problem. When he doesn't play. How many games did he play last year? Like 5?
I want to say 5, 6, yeah.
And then he missed a bunch of games the year before that. Like, I hate to say it, but like this probably his last hurrah. I wish we didn't have fumbling issues with Mason in the preseason. I wish Ty Davis Price could block better because then it would be a no-brainer.
But I mean, even still, Aaron, like even if they were not having those issues, they're going to be limited in what they can give you 4 yards a carry. That's cute. Christian McCaffrey can give you like 9 yards a carry. Like that's why they went and got Christian McCaffrey, man. He's better than any running back in the NFL. He's just like Kyle finally got a running back that is so good for this team. And when he came and took over this team, okay, we had Carlos Hyde. He was okay. He was a good, like decent running back, but he was not going to be able to thrive in Kyle's system. You have to be quick. You have to be able to find the holes. You have to be able to catch out the backfield. You have to do everything. So Carlos Hyde, he played a year. Kyle's all right. Get out of here. We get in Jarek.
Carlos Hyde.
Yeah. So then they went and got Jerick McKinnon. They thought he was going to be the guy that athletic enough to do everything. He probably could have been, but he never was able to shoulder. Like he was not a running back one type guy. And what happened? He got hurt because Kyle was trying to give this man this huge workload. He couldn't tolerate it. He got hurt. They kept him around. And he was decent for us when he played, but he never was able to hit that full stride. Again, all the other guys I mentioned, Breida, Mostert, like they were good. I'm not saying they weren't good. They were fun. I rooted for them. But Christian McCaffrey, ladies and gentlemen, he's like on a whole nother echelon that these running backs, and no disrespect to them, they will never, ever be at the level Christian McCaffrey is in their entire life. I'm sorry. They will never be as good as Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey will go into the Hall of Fame. These other guys are going to be like maybe in the Hall of pretty good, but he's in the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Cool and stuff.
Yeah.
No, he's legitimately a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
He's legitimately a Hall of Fame player, and that's not hyperbole. That's the doggone honest truth. I mean, you watch him in games, and he's the best player on the field most of the time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big fan of I almost said Elijah Mitchell. Well, I was when he used to play, but he doesn't play. Um, Rob D. First of all, I love the old school Niner icon as your thumbnail. He
Yeah.
says, "We will let Mitchell go. Miami will grab him, and he'll be another Moster." I know, right? Well,
Exactly.
they got They got Jeff Wilson. He's always hurt, so that fits right into what we were dealing with.
So I'm saying, man, all these guys at the 49ers, they're underrated. They're cool. They're great, but they just couldn't stay healthy. And Kyle, I think he finally reached his boiling point. He's like, fuck, give me CMC. And look at this guy. I remember last year, everybody wrote him off. They were like, oh, wow, Kyle's going to run him to the ground. He's this and that. He's what? Look at him. He's carrying the ball at high rates. He's putting the team on his back half the time. He's fine. Like he has been on the injury report this year. It's mental. It's all in here.
Your hat, I keep looking at it. I keep thinking it says Reese's from the light and the angle, because you know how the Reese's peanut butter cup and it says 49ers. So I'm sorry. Like, why does he have a Reese's hat on for? I'm like, oh, never mind.
I
I'm
ate
weird.
Today, but yeah,
You ate a Reese's.
I did.
What do you think the Niners pass rush needs to do to kind of awaken itself? I feel like they've been kind of quiet.
I mean,
They're not going to get.
they're getting pressures. I don't know. I don't know if they're. I think teams are just getting rid of the ball quick on us. That's really what it is. They know the game plan. Get rid of the ball fast. That's it.
I watch them and it's like it's frustrating because teams are taking these deep dropbacks, and it's just like a wall of tryhards and nobody's getting through, and it's Bosa getting all sorts of stuff thrown at him that he hasn't probably seen ever in his life. It sucks that it happens a lot with holdouts, and then guys come play and either they get injured and they're out for the season, or they end up having a really bad season or a season not worth talking about. And
Yeah.
it's kind of following that trend, unfortunately. I didn't realize how many people were kind of pissed off that he let his holdout hold into the beginning of the regular season. There's some fans out there that legit think he's a selfish a-hole. And
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, I thought he was just trying to get his money, but I could kind of understand that mindset. Do you understand why some fans are upset with him because it's kind of affected the overall chemistry of the D line because they never really did anything together in camp,
Yeah.
and they've just been kind of this like what is it called? Not jigsaw puzzle, but mishmash of just dudes lately. Like I don't see it. The Niners defense to me and their pass rush, they have no identity right now. This defense, they look
Yeah.
like they're playing prevent all the time. Like we're just going to play off. That's all I see. I don't see anything revolutionary. I don't see like a guy that's had a career with low numbers all of a sudden coming to the 49ers and having this like it's just like what are we looking at here? What is your do you think that has some effect on it?
Yeah, I think I can understand why fans are mad because they wanted him to get. I see it again. I see it both ways. I know why Bosa held out and tried to get his money, and you want to get your guaranteed money. I get it. It's the process. I feel like the 49ers could have got it done a little earlier. His agent was tough, and they thought he was going to get a certain amount of money set aside. And when they came back and they were like, "This is what we need," I think that took the Niners by shock, and they're like, "Oh man, now we got to figure out how to get him paid." And I can see why the fans are frustrated, but the behind the scenes stuff, it's something that it's crazy, man, and you don't really understand what's going on sometimes. And yeah, I think in terms of the fans, it's frustrating because yeah, Steve Wilkes still doesn't know how to really utilize these guys. Like I think he's still learning also himself, not just the players, because they got to get their communication right. Because Hargrave, you see how good he's been out there, but I feel like him and Bosa still haven't really clicked 100%. They're all starting to try to figure out how they mesh together. And I think also Steve Wilkes, not having him in training camp, I think he just doesn't know how to utilize Bosa to his best abilities. Bosa's a Ferrari, but if you've never drove a Ferrari and you're used to driving, a Toyota, Corolla,
A Pinto.
like you're going to be a little tentative to take high speed and do certain things with that car, so you're going to be still on a learning curve. So I feel like that's where they are. And I feel like Bosa, honestly, he didn't come in football shape. Like he came in great shape because he's Nick Bosa. But I think I was also surprised in how little football shape he was in, because that was something I didn't expect. I was like, oh, Bosa's gonna be great. He's gonna be ripping and rolling. He's in phenomenal. His abs are ripping out of his body. He's muscular, but that doesn't mean he has football shape. And he's still catching his legs under him. And again, like you said, he's being thrown every different matchup his way. They're triple teaming him, double teaming him. They're throwing new looks at him, chipping the tight end, this and that. And he's getting frustrated. I think also there's a lot of mental frustration for Bosa, because he knows he's getting paid all this money. The fans, if you see the comments, they're like, oh, shut up and just sack the quarterback. Shut up and do your job. I see the comments all the time. And people are like, just shut up and do your job, Bosa. I see it. And it must be frustrating for Nick, because I know he says he doesn't go on social media a lot, but I'm sure he does at times look.
People know what's being said about them. So
because the other players are going to tell him, and he's probably like, all right, if I just get 2 sacks, then I'll have less pressure on me. There's got to be a lot of pressure on Bosa. You're getting paid a lot of money. People are going to say, oh, you're getting paid. You got the bag, and now you suck. That's the vibe that people are throwing out there. I feel bad for Bosa. I see where the fans are coming from. It's a frustrating situation. Steve Wilkes is trying to still figure it out. I think we're okay. We're only allowing 14 points. Everything will kind of – the glue will stick eventually. The puzzle will be solved eventually. The mish will be unmashed. It takes time, but I do feel why everybody's frustrated, because everybody wants him to get – they want him to have 10 sacks by now. Look at Khalil Mack. The man just had 6 sacks a week ago. I think they want that out of Bosa.
Monique, I didn't think that defensive coordinators mattered, and you're right. Miko he played a huge part of that defense.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think you could just plug in any coach with great players, and they're going to pass the test. I've been 100% wrong. I was a little frustrated. I forget what week it was. I don't think it was last week. It might have been the week before. With the Rams, with this thing with them just throwing the ball to Puka Nacua. And I look at my brother, I'm like, dude, if freaking D'Amico was on this team, that they would have shut that shit down way before. What's happening right now? So here's my frustration, but I think this is what it is. And it's all a combination of what we said. New defense coordinator. Mm-hmm. We have a guy that didn't practice with the rest of the defense, and he's not in football shape. And I think we have the problem that I said and you said and a lot of people. We don't have an edge guy on the other side who's a legitimate pro player. They're just a bunch of guys. Drake Jackson, I love him to death. He's just a dude right now.
Dude, right? Yeah, we said you remember that, Aaron? We said it, and people were like, "Well, Drake Jackson's gonna break out."
You got to give them a chance, Aaron. They're gonna be fine. I don't know. They don't. I mean, they might eventually be fine, but
well. But Drake Jackson, I love and what did I say all offseason? I said I like Drake. There's a lot of pressure on him to go out there and have a 10-sack season. He had 3 sacks week 1. We haven't heard his name since.
Nothing.
And that's
nothing.
I knew he was going to be okay, better than what he was last year. But he's still young. He's still developing. If you go from a season where Kyle Shanahan told you, get stronger, fix your endurance, get in. Basically, he called him fat boy. It's basically he told him, get in better shape, fat boy. If you really want to put this in layman's terms, he said, hey, fat boy, get in shape. That's what he told him. If you go from that 9 months later and expect to be a 10-sack guy, you got to realize there's going to be some expectations. Hey, I love Drake Jackson as much as the next guy, but let's be realistic. He can't just go from 2nd-round pick 1 year to one of the best defensive edge rushers in the next year. It doesn't work. It's going to take him some time. And like you said, and what I said, they needed more edge rushers to help, because Austin Bryant, he's been bouncing around the practice squad. He's never really played many games over the last couple years because of injury. So that's kind of where he's been, right? Clellan Ferrell, they stole him from the Raiders, which he wasn't really much. He never lived up to his draft stock. And who else? They got Nick Bosa, who hasn't played all off. He didn't play in the training camp, and then Drake Jackson, who
I called it. I said this defensive line is underwhelming. Other than, and people are going to be like, underwhelming. You got Javon Hargrave. They got Hargrave and Bosa are your legitimate pass rushers from their respective positions. That's it.
Hargrave's been a dog, man. So
right, he's been really good. But if you lock those two up, you're good.
Yeah. So if
there's nobody else that threatens this anybody's offense.
Yeah, and teams know. You double up Bosa. You got to pray that you can stop Hargrave up the middle. Nobody else is coming at you.
Spy Nick Danger, hit that like button. Thank you, sir. Do that, please. You're the man. I've seen you in. I feel like I've seen him in Larry Krueger's chats and stuff by Nick Danger and other people. So thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. Terrence Davis says, I love the Gregory trade. I think Historic will make him explode. Terrence, I agree with you, but I'm so like, I've worked myself into a fit right now because we're talking about something that me and Raj talked about at freaking nauseum in the offseason. Get an edge rusher. Sign Justin Houston. I know Chris. I know the I'm stuttering. Yannick Ngakwe was pie in the sky. It wasn't going to happen, right? But something, man. Like, think about this. Here's our edges across from Bosa. Austin Bryant, Greg Jackson, Glenn Farrell. Wow. They're so impressive. All those guys are depth guys. They're not starters.
But Aaron, Drake Jackson had 3 sacks in week 1.
Tough. Who cares? They were all effort sacks. They weren't even like, if you watch the game, they were effort sacks. They weren't like he was beating the tackle to death and using all sorts of fancy pro football moves on him. They were just like effort.
Yeah, he wasn't sliding up in that hole. He was just there. Oh, look, I got a sack.
Oh, look, there's a guy standing in front of me who can't move because he sucks because his name is Kenny Pickett and he's got little Burger King hands. Yeah. So let's sack him. I don't know. I was mad about it. I don't really get super pissy about the Niners anymore, but that 99-yard drive pissed me off, man. Really? Against that team? You let him go the whole field. You don't touch the quarterback. You can't stop the run. Like, I know I'm nitpicking the Niners right now, but like, I always look to the future. I think about other opponents. I think about people that are more talented, and I say to myself, damn, if they were going against blah, 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 they would get shredded. And this is the Cardinals, a try-hard team. So I want to see the defense be better. The good thing is the offense is scoring a lot of points, and they're going to give the defense time to gel. So maybe, say, by week 8, week 10, maybe this defense kind of finds its identity. But when people keep saying they're the best defense in the league, they're not. Not right now.
They're not the best, but they're good. They're not best defense, but I think they will eventually. I think they'll get their chemistry down. But I mean, they're still doing good. But yeah, definitely there's a lot of room to improve upon. But I mean, I think the greatest thing, that the biggest takeaway is we got a great offense, Aaron. The 49ers have a great offense.
Yes, we do.
It's nice. It's refreshing to know that your offense can actually carry your team. And now the defense gets to play catch up, because in the past it was, maybe we were saying the same tune, but in the opposite. Like, when the offense catches up and they're scoring.
Because that's usually how it works. It's the teams usually can't score any points.
Yeah.
And then early in the season, defenses are ahead. This year, the Niners offense is
way ahead. So it's
ahead of the defense.
To me, it's kind of refreshing. It's nice.
It's kind of a good problem to have, because then if you go against a team, say like the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, you might be able to put 40 on them because you have that many players that can do it. Exactly. So in a way, because people keep talking about how the Chiefs haven't beat anybody, and dude, I bet you $1 million AFC Championship game, one of those teams is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, absolutely!
I'm telling you right now. I don't want to hear any narrative about how they're going to be there again. I don't care that he doesn't have any receivers.
They're going to be there. They got Kelsey. Mahomes will find a way. They got Pacheco. Taylor Swift's in the suite. They ain't losing for Taylor. Who in the
AFC could you see legitimately beating the Chiefs? Miami can score points, but their defenses right now is a little sus.
They'll score 70 against the Chiefs, but they'll let up 70.
They'll have 75.
Yeah,
that would be weird.
I always want to say the Bills, but they always let me down because Josh Allen chokes in the clutch. I hate that. I always want to say the Bills. I don't know. I can't trust them in the
Josh Allen, to me, if he had Brock Purdy's mind, he would be Patrick Mahomes 2. He, when pressure is at its biggest and he's going against a real defense, that dude plays some of the worst football. Like, he looks like a deer in headlights. Everybody gets fooled by him during the regular season every single year. Oh, look at Josh. Then they get in the playoffs and it's like, oh.
It looks like Jim Garoppolo instead of Josh.
And then Aaron Diggs wants to leave the team because he's like, man, we got all these people all these players, and none of them we can't win with them. So that's a reflection of the quarterback. Terrence Davis says, I'm with Aaron. Why do we give up points in the last 2 minutes for every half? Right? Like every damn game. Why are we letting the corners, dude? This prevent trash that we're playing. Oh, we're not going to get beat deep. A team's got to go against us and we got to give up a 12 play drive. I hate that. I hate that kind of defense. It's like bitch defense. Like, dude, freaking blitz a corner, something, show something. I'm not a fan of Wilkes right now. Everybody says this is what he does. He plays off and lets teams kind of move down the field on him. That's great if your team's getting there. The rush hasn't gotten there, so pretty much we're just playing prevent defense.
I mean, he's a bend but don't break guy. I feel like, again, I just think he's still trying to figure out how to utilize. He's never had talent like this in his, like, I don't think he's ever walked into a locker room and saw the amount of talent the Niners have. I mean, Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, Nick Bosa, Armstead, Hargrave, like, that's a Mooney Ward. Like, the talent the Niners have on defense, Hufanga, sorry. The talent the Niners have on defense is crazy. And I don't think that he's ever so I think he doesn't know what he's doing with these guys because he's like starstruck. He's probably like, holy crap, I got Nick Bosa, I got Fred Warner, oh my God. I think he's doing a good job in making second half adjustments. I want to say that because I don't want to be so disrespectful on Steve Wilkes because, yeah, he has been perfect. But
I'm
his
impatient.
Have been good. Overall, if I'm going to grade him, he's been a C minus coach.
Yeah.
But that's I think that's a fair assessment. Second half adjustments have been like a really strong B plus. Like he's really good in the second half, but that first half, it kind of like is a little stressful. But you know what though? What I always say is the 49ers are so physical, they're so strong. You have to be able to beat them in 4 quarters. And some teams they beat them in 2, some teams beat them in 3, but can you beat the 49ers? Can you outlast the rugged 49ers in 4 quarters of football? Most teams can't.
Tommy, I agree with you. We got it. Third down defense pisses me off to the 10th degree. It did last year too.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the down and distance is. It's like, come on, dude.
I agree with that.
Fred Warner, he needs to play better too. He's been a little bit, I don't know. It's like a missile without guidance sometimes.
Sometimes he's like a free launching missile. But anyways, let's get to the big part of the story. So tomorrow, Niners, Cowboys. What's your final prediction, Aaron? What do you think?
It's gonna be a tough one. I'm of course I'm gonna pick the Niners to win because this is a 49ers channel.
Of course.
I'm gonna go 49ers 27, Dallas 24. It's gonna be close.
Oh my God, I don't know if my heart could take that, Aaron, but I think it's gonna be close. This is the toughest team that both teams have played. This is a test for both teams. First place, NFC number 1 seed is gonna ride on a game like a couple weeks down the line in a couple months. This is one of those games that's gonna really matter for that, seeding. And if 49ers can win this game, they're 2 games ahead on the Cowboys, and that's huge. And they have a head-to-head match victory on them. 49ers have beat them the last 2 times they played in the playoffs. Dallas is going to want to kind of get revenge. They've been saying all the right things. Both teams haven't really had any negative publicity. I think the most negative thing out of all the players was the couple days ago. They asked Mooney Ward, "Is there a grudge?" He goes, "Not for me."
Yeah, that bothered me a little bit.
I was kind of like Mooney.
I was like, "Come on, dude."
Every player on Dallas was saying, "Good, oh, we love the Niners. They're good. It's going to be a great match." Like Parsons was very humble this week. He changed. He learned. Parsons learned from being a little cocky in the past because it came back to bite him. He's humbled up. I respect.
Like Aaron Donald saying, "Debo who?"
Yeah.
Oh, you know who Debo is now.
Because you don't piss off Debo. You poke the bear like Debo did last year. He said, "Poke the bear," and you fuck around, you find out. And now they realize. And last year, Dak Prescott, he said some inflammatory things. It was bulletin board material. This year, Dallas was pretty cool. They were chill. Jerry Jones was hyping up the Niners all week.
Yeah, they're kissing it. I hate that because it's such phony baloney stuff.
Smart. And then the Niners, same thing. Dallas is going to be tough, formidable opponent. Fred Warner says they're going to be toughest team we played. We got to get through them. Nick Bosa, they're a great team. I respect Parsons. Coaches, quarterbacks, we're all respectful. The one guy was Mooney Ward. He says, if anything, it's them that hold the grudge because we beat them. I was like, Mooney, come on, man. Come on, man. You can't do that. Talk your trash after the game. But I do think it's going to be a close game. Both teams are rocking and rolling. They have good offenses. They have good defenses, good defensive lines, good offensive lines, good coaching. It's going to come down to the turnovers. I think Dak against the 49ers defense and that home field is going to rattle them a little bit. And again, can Brock Purdy, like we talked about, can he be the guy that rises to the occasion and plays a big game, and lead his team to victory with in a pressure cooker situation. I think he can. I think if he can limit his mistakes and the 49ers cause Daiquiri to get some turnovers, that's the game. And I think the 49ers are going to score 33 points, and the Cowboys are going to score 27. It's going to be a barn burner, game of the year type vibe. It's going to be a fun game.
I mean, the Niners defense is going to play like Dookie again.
Hey, but I think it's because both teams are evenly matched. But I do have the 49ers getting 2 interceptions.
If we get some mistakes,
yeah.
So the pass rush this week has to step up.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one game that the pass rush needs to step their ass up and play and stop doing this the whole game. Oh, look, let's play patty cakes with the offensive lineman in front of them. No, how about get a sack, please? Oh my God, it drives me. Dude, I've been really positive this year, but when I watch our D line do this all game and not get any sacks, quarterbacks patting the ball. And then Hargrave gets like a diving sack at the end of the game. And I'm like, that's it? Yeah. I was frustrated.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. His new channel is RSF 49ers Live, Rajes. So if you are a fan of his old channel, RSF 49ers, go to RSF 49ers Live, sub to the channel, please.
Yeah.
Anybody who was a fan of his channel, let them know. Of course, Raj has his huge Instagram. His Instagram is awesome. He's I think is the best one out there. And like I said, we want to tell you what we were talking about off stream about the t-shirt deal. But if we win, maybe we'll see it. But I don't want to cause anything that Dallas people might see and be like, you know what they said? So
yeah.
For them.
All
right, everybody.
Yeah.
You guys have a great night. Me and Raj, we were going to try to do it Wednesday, but Raj has moved. He's still moving in. So we moved it to Saturday. I was trying to get other streams going this week, but I was getting the silent treatment from everybody. So we will see you we'll be back next Wednesday, correct?
Yeah, we'll probably be back Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll try to be back next Wednesday. Everybody have a great rest of your night. Thanks for all the comments. Appreciate them very much. Thanks for supporting both channels, and we'll talk to you guys later. See ya.